Hi, so in episode 1 I talked about my two friends, Langford's Basic and Langford's Advanced Photography, and I said about we should think about the creative side, creative investment that we make in our repertoire of knowledge. And my suggestion is 3 publications I think that help to start to form the foundation of our creative attributes, our creative knowledge, and they are a book called The Key Concepts Photography. Now what I would say about this is it's pretty straightforward, and I think the best thing to do really is always to be motivated by something that grabs your attention. So I wouldn't necessarily say always that you need to religiously wade your way through all these publications and test yourself at the end of it like Mastermind or something. I think the best thing to do, honestly, is to pick up something like this and look for the chapter that grabs you. So for example, in Key Concepts, for my particular application, there's a chapter 3, Documentary and Storytelling, which has got various subheadings. So that's my go-to chapter to begin with, and in fact chapter 4 as well, looking at portraits. Then I probably would meander through some of the other parts of it at a different time. The particularly nice thing about Key Concepts Photography is that there's a nice little kind of like synopsis at the end of them, telling you basically what the sort of learning outcomes are, which if you do a university or college course, learning outcomes, and it's something that I'll mention quite often, is something that you come across. So essentially learning outcomes are often the defined things that you set out, as it were, to achieve from a particular lesson. So sometimes there's a singular learning outcome. It could be understanding the coloured temperature or a light meter or the particular attributes of a lens. So this book is rather nice in the way that all the chapters finish with a kind of synopsis of the learning outcomes. So yeah, Key Concepts, that's the number 1 publication I would say is worth having a look at, no particular order. The Nature of Photographs. I said in episode 1, I'm sourcing these books. I do buy a lot online, but buy second hand. That's the thing. Recycle, reuse, save the planet. Absolutely. And these books can be easily sourced, on eBay and etc. So it's a good idea to save a few bob, and you can get good quality copies of them. And I always kind of like the fact that it belongs to somebody else and there's a bit of history with it. And not quite often they come from universities or colleges as well. So book number 2, which is my friend here, The Nature of Photographs. I did just highlight a page here to begin with, on the intro, and it describes, in The Nature of Photographs, Stephen Shaw explores ways of understanding and looking at all types of photographs, from iconic images to found pictures, to negatives to digital files. Based on Shaw's many years of teaching photography at Bate College in New York, this book serves as an indispensable tool for students, teachers and everyone who wants to take better pictures or learn to look at them in a more informed way. An indispensable tool for students, teachers and everyone who wants to take better pictures. Well, to be absolutely honest, if anybody said that to me and recommended a book that was in any way credible and well known, that had that at the beginning of it, I'd have to have a look at it, absolutely. And it really does help. It is an interesting book that basically surmises lots of different situations. It uses the artist, the photographer's own photographs and those of other people. So certainly, the nature of photographs. Again, so that's book number 2. So this is the investment in your creative debacle, the creative side of your professional practice. And book number 3. And I mentioned this in my introduction, which is a book called Pictures on a Page by the editor of the Sunday Times, Harold Evans. The beauty of this book really is the fact that what it helps you to do is just literally look at the composition as far as lots of basic compositional factors are concerned, or attributes, whichever term you want to use. So things like diagonals to express movement, the rule of thirds, different ways of cropping, etc., etc. Cropping and editing, a subject in its own right that I'll certainly get into details about further down the line. I mean, the whole thing, cropping and editing, perhaps just to say now, but it's a point I will underline in the future. Essentially, what we want to do is edit in the camera. Editing is something that I'm always asked about, and you know, how to edit. How to edit is quite simple. Take better photographs. Edit through the viewfinder. Stop relying on quantity and just look at quality, and that's what this is all about. Frame your pictures, and frame your pictures in your mind to start with, and that's what the creative learning curve is all about. Is what we're doing here is building the foundation, which is some rules and principles about different ways of looking at composition, and then we will look at the work of other people, Bill Brandt, Diana Arbus, or a whole collection of different photographers, to reference their work, to start to build up our own library in our heads about different images and the construction of images and the way you look at things, portraits, landscapes, documentary, abstract, lots and lots of different types of images that we can store in our brain that can help us to support our own work and to develop our own vision. So these are the tools to get you on that journey, absolutely. So there we are, pictures on a page, and our friend there, The Nature of Photographs, and Key Concepts Photography. So those books, those 3 books will form the foundation of your creative investment to begin to develop your creative ability, and we've talked about our technical with the Langford's books. Okay, thanks very much indeed.